Hello, I'm Julie Swenson, Managing Director of Forward Theater Company in Madison, Wisconsin.
And I'm Mike Fisher, a Milwaukee-based theater writer and dramaturg.
And I'm Jen Uphoff-Gray, founder and artistic director of Forward Theater Company. And this is Theater Forward, a monthly conversation about theater from a local, regional, and national perspective. From Madison to Manhattan, we're excited to share insights into our own company while exploring issues surrounding theater in the Midwest and around the country. Welcome to episode 108 of Theater Forward.
Well, great to be here.
This month, we are going to talk about some of the projects that have been announced by theaters around our region and even some further afield that have us buzzing with excitement. And we should clarify, we're recording this at the very end of April. There are certainly some wonderful theater companies close to home and obviously further away that have not yet announced their 2024 or 2024/2025 seasons. So we can really only talk about the news that's out there, but there is so much news that's out there. We were excited to get into it. So let's start with productions that have been announced coming up here in Wisconsin. Julie, do you have a favorite you want to kick us off with?
I do. I will say overall, Next Act Theater in Milwaukee is kind of batting it out of the park for their 24/25 season. So many good things. I will, The Children by Lucy Kirkwood has me especially excited. It is topical. It was a show that Forward considered and wasn't so great right out of the pandemic, but right now is the perfect time to talk about what sacrifice an individual does for the good of the whole. And I think it's a beautiful play. And I'm especially excited that my friend Marie Kohler will be directing it. And I think she will do a beautiful job of that. So I will be there first weekend.
Same. Must see theater.
Yeah.
Yep.
And with both Mary McDonald-Kerr and Brian Monty, who have not been on a Next Act stage together in 20 years. So they will be two of the three actors in this. The title is so smart because, it's about a nuclear disaster and what these 60-somethings are going to do in terms of all of whom are scientists, what role they should play in sacrificing themselves and their careers to help clean it up. And the question that gets asked by Lucy Kirkwood, who is one of the most exciting and brilliant young British playwrights working now, right in the Caryl Churchill mode. She points to Caryl Churchill as a mentor. Need I say more? But the question she asks is, who are the actual children in this play? Are they the children for whom these older people should be sacrificing, or is it the older people themselves who are acting like children because of the things they will or won't do? And it's a great play for both generations as we look at environmental catastrophe and the sort of intergenerational things that need to happen for us to overcome potential environmental catastrophe. I also have a Next Act play I want to talk about. It's Annie Baker, who I love, as I've said many times on this podcast. Her play Circle Mirror Transformations, which was an early Baker play. The Circle Mirror Transformation is based on theater exercises that get done in the rehearsal room. But as always with Baker, what it really becomes is an opportunity for a meditation on community. I first saw this play a million years ago in Mark Bucher's Boulevard Ensemble Theater, back when Annie Baker was not somebody a whole lot of people knew about. And Mark Bucher spent years showcasing and bringing to Milwaukee the names of playwrights that none of us had ever heard of or didn't know a whole lot about. And I am so excited to be revisiting that play. Cody Essel, the artistic director at Next Act, will be directing that play. It's going to be special.
Well, I have to laugh because I don't want this to become just the Next Act Theater fan club, but I can't not mention another play that they're doing next season.
Oh my gosh, it's like they paid us, which
I know,
but
my favorite, anyone who's listened to this podcast over the years has heard me talk about my deep passion for The Elaborate Entrance of Chad Deity by Christopher Diaz, which has been on my kind of the plays that got away list for a decade or more here at Forward. And they're doing it to open their season. And not only are they doing it so that I can finally see this play in 3 dimensions, I've seen it in two because we did a reading of it during the pandemic on Zoom with some extraordinary artists. But this one's going to be directed by our friend Michael Cody, our colleague from World Premiere Wisconsin. It's going to star DeMonte Henning, who we have done many projects with here at Forward. So I won't go on and on because, again, we love you, Next Act, but we love everybody else too. But that is a play that I have been looking to see done on a Wisconsin stage for more than 10 years. And I am really giddy that it's finally happening.
Well, go ahead, Julie.
We fed our itch a little bit, Jen, with that
Right.
play, with as you mentioned, the reading during the pandemic. And what it did for me is make me yearn for the real thing, because I thought our reading was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
But I really wanted to see people in 3 dimensions, and excited to be able to do that.
Yeah. Well, what else? What else in Wisconsin has y'all excited? Julie, do you have another one?
Well, I'll go over to APT and American Players Theater. I am excited to see King Lear. And again, I've kind of got a theme on, it's not actually the play, it's the people. I am really excited to see Brian Monty take on the role of King Lear. I think his career has sort of led to this position, and I'm really excited to see what they do with it. I don't, they've been taking tackling different angles in their Shakespeare recently, and I look forward to seeing what they do with King Lear.
Yeah, I mean, I think, Brian did such an amazing, to me, revelatory job a few years ago, taking on the American King Lear as Willie Loman in The Death of a Salesman. I mean, he was just brilliant. And to see him now sort of having thought through that role and inhabiting it so credibly, tackle this role is going to be really exciting. I'm going to go north by northeast toward Door County, where I think Northern Sky Theater has a truly exciting summer coming up. 6 shows, counting at shoulder season fall play, If I Am Elected. And this is what the Gould Theater, their marvelous, amazing indoor theater space, has made possible, is that they can have more things going on at once. But they've got a bunch of really cool things. The one I'm probably, just on a fun level, most excited about is a collaboration between LaCrissa Granberry and Molly Rohde, with Alyssa Rohde doing the music. And it's called Girls on Sand, which those of us who live in Wisconsin will immediately chuckle thinking about Guys on Ice. It is sort of a riff on that motif, involving girl power and two women who are sort of thinking through what their relationship is. And there's a sister play, which is sort of, at least thematically, kind of a diptych to this, which is by one of the most amazing, to my mind, Wisconsin musicians and songwriters, Katie Dahl, who has done book lyrics and songs for this, called The Fisherman's Daughter. It had a 2021 partially staged reading coming out of the pandemic. This will be its full-fledged world premiere, also involving, in this case, involving 2 sisters. And then finally, the long-awaited, drum roll please, prequel to Belgians in Heaven, with Doc Heide giving us Hell's Belgians. He swears that you do not need to know the original, although, how could you, unless you've been living under a rock, not know the original Belgians in Heaven? But you can watch this without having seen that, and he swears that you will get a lot out of it, while there will still be Easter eggs aplenty for Belgians in Heaven fans. So I think those 3 in that space in particular, I'm super excited about seeing this summer.
I still have a few more on my list from around the state, but I think I'll stay up in Door County for a minute to say how excited I am that Third Avenue Playworks is going to be mounting Erica Berman's play, No Wake, later this season. That's a play that actually got its start here at Forward in our Wisconsin Writes New Play Festival a number of years ago. It's a beautiful piece. Erica is a beautiful writer. And we were thrilled to see it go on and get a full mounting at Milwaukee Chamber Theater a number of years ago. So the fact that it's going on to have even more life here in Wisconsin really thrills me. I'm thrilled for Erica. And I really love seeing the programming that Jacob Jansen is doing up at TAP there in Sturgeon Bay, and a lovely focus on some new work. And I might just throw another new work that I'm excited about in while I'm taking my turn from a less likely place to go and see new work. Honestly, the thing I am most looking forward to at American Players Theater this summer is a world premiere that they're doing. And that is a rare event there. It's The Virgin Queen Entertains Her Fool by Michael Hollinger. It's going to be directed by Aaron Posner, who we just adore as both a playwright and a director. It has a phenomenal cast, including some folks who are longtime collaborators here at Forward: Tracy Michelle Arnold, Jim DeVita, Josh Krause. So I'm so looking forward to seeing this new piece at a theater that typically focuses on the classics. So those are a couple more of my Wisconsin wish list shows.
Well, and with Tracy as the Virgin Queen and Josh Krause, new company member at APT. Congratulations to him, one of 4 new company members there this year, as the Fool. So I mean, come on, that's going to be a lot of fun. Sort of sneaking into the fall, and in Milwaukee, two that I'm really excited about at Milwaukee Rep, which is going to be in sort of a strange year. I mean, they're going to be partly wandering next year as the very exciting redo of the Powerhouse space and the Quadracci stage takes place, allowing for a real pit and more along the lines of the musicals that Mark Clemens has made a signature trademark of his tenure there since 2009. And he will be bringing us a world premiere musical, Prelude to a Kiss. It's based on the famous Tony-nominated Craig Lucas play, which also got turned into a movie. But honestly, I know that's the one that will get the most hoopla, and I'm excited to see it. The one I am most excited about is The Coast Starlight, which had a very good run in New York. I had actually read it years ago for the Steinberg New American Play competition that I read for every year. It is a lovely piece about a person burdened with all kinds of troubles who gets on a train in Los Angeles for the 1,000-mile journey to Seattle. And it will strongly invoke, indeed, it's paying conscious homage to Thornton Wilder's Pullman Car Hiawatha. But it's that sort of Wilder-esque theme that you get in so many of his plays, of people trying to find, some sense of why they are here in ways that are very understated and beautifully put. And it's a gorgeous play, and it's lyrical as well as sort of thematically resonant in this post-pandemic era where we're all sort of trying to figure out, why we're here and where, like the people on this train, we are going.
Well, I wish them luck in their new building at the Milwaukee Rep. I know that being sort of nomadic or moving things around is challenging, but it looks like it's going to be a spectacular building, and I look forward to. We'll talk about that at some podcast. What we're excited to see in their new space. So good luck to them on that.
Yeah. There's a show I want to mention coming up at Renaissance Theater Works in Milwaukee next season. They're doing the play The Nether by Jennifer Haley, which it's one that we had read. It is fascinating. It's creepy. It is an AI thriller. And it was one of those plays that I was really engaged by while I was reading, and also not entirely sure what I made of it. Right. I was like, this is one, I don't know if I want to produce it. I really want to see it, and they're doing it. And the fabulous Elise Edelman, member of our advisory company at Forward, brilliant actress, and, just a powerhouse emerging director. She did their incredible production of The Wolves this past season. She's going to be directing it for them. So that's another one that's on my must-see list. I can't wait to see what Elise and Renaissance do with that weird and wonderful play.
Yes, indeed.
Well, and as Julie knows, this is a play that's been on the Renaissance radar forever. In terms of, in
Yes.
fact, Julie, I think it was you at a cocktail party, like probably a decade ago, or close to, who first mentioned this play to me and said, "You have to read this play. It's a really, really good play."
And we did a reading with some of our bigger donors of a certain age, and to see, like, does this resonate? Are they? And that long ago, people said, "Oh my gosh, you must do it." So yes, I think it's exciting to see it in their 24-25 season. Yeah.
Should we?
Can I go a
Yeah,
little
please.
south?
Yeah, I was just going to say, let's expand our reach a little outside of the state lines now.
Yeah, I'm continuing on my theme of plays we read and for whatever reason didn't do that other people are doing, and I'm excited to see it. So I will jump to Steppenwolf is doing a show called You Will Get Sick by Noah Diaz. And we read it for the literary company. I loved this play. It is about um, the journey of sickness and potential death and who we surround ourselves with that support us in that journey. And the title is iffy, I'll give you that, but I find it to be a really beautiful and ultimately hopeful play, and I was so excited to see that in Steppenwolf's lineup, so I can run over and see what it's like.
You go south, I'll go north. And
Okay.
This is one that's going on right now. I was just at the Guthrie a week and a half ago to see their currently running History Marathon. You can either see the 3 plays separately, or there's a couple of days, I guess one left, where you can see them all in one day. But Joseph Hodge, the artistic director there, hearkening back to something that the Guthrie did in 1990-91, is doing Richard II, the 2 parts of Henry IV, as a second play, and then Henry V as a third play. So you're getting that entire Henriade trilogy. Again, the day I saw it, where I ran into Associate Artistic Director Marcy Kearns from Forward, I ran into a number of other people from Wisconsin, sat next to a Forward subscriber who I did not know, who was there. I mean, people were flocking at that first marathon performance. That Guthrie had people from 26 states and 2 provinces, which says everything you need to know in what was a sold-out house for the excitement and thrill of seeing these plays. And the history plays by Shakespeare this is through May 25th, if I didn't say that. You can see these either individually or as a marathon. The history plays are really having their moment right now. Chicago Shakes this last year did an acclaimed production of Richard III, has announced it will do Henry V next year. The Globe in San Diego is completing its production of the entire Shakespeare canon with a 2-play sort of back-to-back performance of the 3 plays of Henry VI this summer. Utah Shakespeare Festival is doing Henry VIII. Dan Molina, who many of you saw on stage here at Forward Theater in Artemisia, who is a star as Prince Hal and then Henry V in the productions at the Guthrie, did those same roles at Oregon Shakespeare Festival in 2017. The only place we're not seeing these history plays is right here at home with one of the best Shakespeare companies in the country, at American Players Theater, which makes me kind of sad. When they have done them, and in many cases, this is 20 or more years ago, they have done a fantastic job. I mean, one of my fondest theater memories is watching Jim DeVita as Richard II and Jim Ridge as Bolingbroke in a production of Richard II in 2001, seared in my memory. Matt Schwader's productions where he was young Hal and then Henry V in 2008 and 2009. The brilliant Jimmy DeVita direction of Ridge as Richard III in 2012. These are good. Fabulous productions. But that 2012 production of Richard III is the last time APD has done any of the 9 Shakespeare history plays. And there are 4 of them they have never produced in their entire 40-plus year history. And I just think for a company of this caliber to be missing the opportunity to really delve into these plays in this Game of Thrones kind of moment where these plays speak so intelligently to the way in which we think about power. Oh, I'm just begging you, APT, to let us have a chance to see the great actors that we have here cut their teeth on this material sometime soon.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it's on the near horizon. Hopefully. There's a couple that I am really excited about come into the Chicago area over the next season that really caught my eye. Of course, I have to mention a new adaptation of Little Women written by Lauren Gunderson, because for obvious reasons, that's coming up at Northlight. So I'd love to make a little mini road trip down to see that. I see that Timeline and Court Theater are doing a co-pro of one of my favorite musicals, Falsettos, which, gosh, I love that piece. I love that music. I was still living in New York when the original Broadway production came out and got to see it. And it's so rarely done anywhere. So to see those two brilliant companies doing that as a co-pro is very exciting to me. And then the other one I want to mention, which is a little hard because they haven't announced a title yet, but The Goodman has a new play by Jordan Harrison, directed by David Comer, on their season announcement. The title is TBA, but I love me some Jordan Harrison. We have produced two of his shows, both Marjorie Prime and The Amateurs. David Comer is a brilliant director. So I am so looking forward to learning more about what that particular project is going to be, because how exciting. And I'll just dovetail on top of that, because I mentioned Northlight, and one of the other things I've just been so thrilled to see is
That's just what I was going to jump in and say. Go on.
Okay, well, I'm so excited to see how many theaters are including the Heart Sellers in their upcoming season. You're going to talk about something else at Northlight.
I am. Yeah.
But the Guthrie is doing Lloyd Says the Heart Sellers this coming season. Northlight is doing it. I know there's a bunch of other places that have announced it. This is a play that we got to see last season here in Wisconsin at Milwaukee Rep as part of World Premiere Wisconsin. I remember at that point thinking, this is the play that's going to be done everywhere. It is so delightful, smart, thought-provoking, educational, entertaining, all of the good superlatives. And the fact that it is so quickly appearing on so many season slates just makes me really, really happy.
Well, what might also continue to be on people's season slates, Jen, is Northlight is doing The Flying Lovers of Vitebsk. And I know that you talked to the AD. I talked to the ED about this play. They saw a virtual production of our play. And what I'm especially excited about is the music is gorgeous. The story is gorgeous, but it is a script which allows every production to do so much on their own. And so I think that every production is going to be drastically different than the prior one. And so I look forward to seeing what Northlight does with this beautiful, beautiful play.
Yeah, I talked to BJ Jones, the artistic director at Northlight, recently, and he is so excited by that. And I'm obviously grateful to Forward. I know he and Jen were in contact about what this play is and what it could be, and saw our filmed production, which was one of the things that sort of clued him in to what this might be all about. I want to also give a shout out to David Cromer. I think that this is an Illinois boy who continually comes home, even though he's got a fantastic New York career, because he believes in regional theater. He believes in what we're doing here. It's the same sort of thing that brings Aaron Posner back year after year after year to the Midwest to celebrate and honor and work with and grow from the amazing talent and actors that we have here in the Midwest. And I just think that warms my heart. Chicago, for me, sooner than the ones we've been talking about, is on the radar because of a couple of productions, two at the Goodman and one at Court. To talk about Court again. Court Theater is going to very soon, by the time this podcast drops, it will only be days away, opens May 24th, is doing a world premiere of Nambi E. Kelly's Stokely, The Unfinished Revolution, about Stokely Carmichael and that moment in the 60s. Kelly's Native Son is one of the best adaptations of any novel I have ever seen anywhere. That was also at Court Theater years ago. I'm super excited to see what she does with that. And Goodman has two productions coming up, one opening in May, one opening in June. First, we get to see finally here in the Midwest the Pulitzer Prize winning English by Sanaz Tusi, which is about 4 Iranian students studying for the TOEFL, the test of English as a foreign language exam.
I love that play.
It's a great play. So that will be at the Goodman in May. And it's about how learning a new language both expands your sense of who you are, but also in ways reshapes you and potentially constricts you. And the meditation on that is so smart in that play. And then this one I know nothing about except for the novel. But Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil, world premiere of that novel, featuring, wait for it, Taylor Mack doing the book and Jason Robert Brown doing the music and lyrics. This could be really special, and that's going to be coming to the Goodman in June.
Great.
Well, I have one more on my list, which is could be in and of itself enough to get me back on a plane to New York City, and that is coming to Broadway this summer. They have announced that there will be a transfer of Cole Escola's "Oh Mary," which I am dying to see. This is a camp sort of pseudo-historical piece about Mary Todd Lincoln. I'm not going to go into all of the superlatives that have been spilled about this play for its off-Broadway run, but it sounds wholly original and completely up my alley as an audience member. So lots of great things happening, of course, on Broadway. 1 million shows, it feels like, just opened over the last few weeks as they gear up towards Tony nominations. It remains to be seen how many of them will still be open later this summer with such a packed schedule. But lots of good things coming on. But that's the one that would most get my butt on a plane over the next few months.
And I'll make a plea as we start to wind down here by also making a plea to get your butt in a car and drive the 10 hours that are required to drive to Stratford. You can also, in Ontario, I mean, you could also fly to Toronto and take a bus. It's probably the easier way to do it. They have buses set up from the airport to go right into Stratford, Ontario. They have a typically packed, wonderful season. You can see The Goat, you can see Hedda Gabler, you can see a couple musicals, but the two I'm most excited about are their 2 world premieres: Salesman in China, which is based on Arthur Miller's book describing his experience bringing Death of a Salesman to Beijing in 1983, particularly in the fraught moment that we're in terms of Sino-American relations, the opportunity to sort of think about the possibilities of trans-country, transnational harmony and reconciliation and negotiation, I think is going to be special. And also the diviners. Americans don't read much outside of the United States, unfortunately, but Margaret Lawrence is a really acclaimed Canadian writer. And she wrote a novel. This novel is about the relationship between, well, it's about a woman, a writer who's sort of trying to find her way, and the relationship between her struggle to find liberty and freedom and the struggle of First Nation peoples in Canada to do the same. That's a very thin description of a 600-page novel, but they're going to bring the diviners to stage in an adaptation at Stratford this summer. And Stratford has made a concerted, regular, annual commitment to highlighting Canadian writers, highlighting Indigenous writers in Canada, and highlighting the many things that make Canada such a gloriously pluralistic culture. Read whatever you want into that politically. And I think the chance to see that is going to be special.
Great.
Well, we've covered an awful lot of things. I hope we get to all of them.
And the thing is, too, I mean, this is the conversation that can just go on and on and on. And you know it will. As soon as we're done, we'll have other things. But the biggest takeaway from all of this is what I always think is just go see some theater. There's a ton of good stuff out. We've given you some, but find something near you. Find anything and go. Go this weekend.
Amen. Amen, Julie Swenson.
Yes.
And on those apt and inspiring words, we will say that is all for this episode of Theater Forward, a conversation about theater in Wisconsin, the Midwest, and America. I'm Jenna Poff-Gray.
I'm Julie Swenson.
And I'm Mike Fisher. Our podcast is produced by Scott Hayden. Thanks to him, you can follow us or share your thoughts from anywhere in the world where theater is made on Facebook. And you can find us at Theater Forward on any of the platforms where you might get your podcast.
And if you enjoy this podcast, don't forget to subscribe. And be sure to leave a comment. We would love to hear from you.
We are so grateful to have you listening, and we will be back soon for another Theater Forward conversation.